My colleague just a moment ago, with his observations about realigning the districts, touches on a subject that you as a historian as well as a CEO know goes back not just the beginning of the Fed, but to the very beginning of this country, about where the concentration of capital should be and control over the economy and how that capital flows. From the very beginning, the great battle was, should the money centers, New York, Chicago, should they be the dominant force? I suspect that's why my predecessors in this Congress a century ago demanded the 12 districts and the lines be laid out the way they were to protect the entire country from a handful. Now that said, this is an issue that is not just theoretical, it's a real subject. I like not only the 12 feds, but I like the sub-feds. I like the groups in our district in Denver and in Oklahoma City and in Omaha who act as consultants, advisors. Could you expand for a moment on the involvement in those communities within the Kansas City Fed, President George, how they add to the process?
So the branch offices for each of the head offices play very important roles, and in the case of the Kansas City Fed, I rely heavily on the input from those branch boards, for example, in the state of Oklahoma, to help me understand what's happening in energy markets, in our Omaha board to understand what's happening in agriculture. And the diversity of input that comes onto those boards serves us well in the head office. So that sort of regional input is essential, in my view, to make sure that all parts of that district are well understood. The regional economists who head each of those offices are out in those communities, engaging on a daily basis with those that affect that economy and are affected by it. So that structure has served us well.
So even though you don't clear checks anymore and those regional banks aren't big currency repositories and you don't grind up wore-out paper money, they still serve a purpose, correct, Madam President?
Absolutely. The Federal Reserve has changed dramatically in its operations, but its commitment to those regions remain constant over that time.
Side question, deviating just a little bit from the subject matter, but your district is manufacturing, of course, it's agriculture and energy. We seem to be under pressure these days in the Kansas City district in all three areas. How much concern do you have as an economist and as a banker with the circumstances right now in your district?
So we've seen over the last 6 years a clear shift in the economies of that region based on commodity price falls. So the drop in oil prices, the fall in agricultural product prices, and the strong dollar on our manufacturing have affected that region significantly, so that today we do see more unemployment. We are seeing flatter growth, although some sectors are still growing. So those are important inputs as we look at that region relative to the performance of the national economy.
Well, it does matter having eyes and ears all over the country.